Hi guys, and welcome back to this journey towards excellent exam results. In these shorter revision videos, we are going to be breaking down different concepts within the GCSE geography specification. The aim of this is to help us understand the concepts better and to give us the information and confidence we need to answer exam questions. In today's video, we are going to be discussing the importance and fragility of the nutrient cycle and food webs in the tropical rainforests. Okay, let's get started. In this next slide, we will look at the nutrient cycle and the food web in the tropical rainforests. So the nutrient cycle. The nutrients are cycled very fast in the rainforest due to the huge biodiversity. Now the biomass is large in the rainforest due to the large variety of flora and fauna. Now that biomass, as you can see here, in this nutrient cycle is actually quite large. And if you look at the key here, the circles here represent the stores, and the size of the circle is proportional to the amount of nutrients that are stored. So you can see that the size of the biomass is quite large, and therefore the nutrients being stored here are quite a lot. Then we also have the arrows, and the arrows, the green arrows, they show the transfers that are taking place. Now the width of the arrow is proportional to the amount of nutrients that is transferred or that are transferred. So the larger the arrow, the more the nutrients are being transferred. So yes, so we going back to the biomass. The biomass is really large, and that's due to the variety, the biodiversity that there is in the tropical rainforest. And the trees especially store huge quantities of nutrients. Then we have the litter. Now the litter here refers to the falling leaves and the animals that die and fall to the forest floor. And we can see that this here is a lot smaller. The litter is a lot smaller than the biomass. And that's because the litter is decomposed very rapidly by the detritivores due to the hot and damp conditions that we talked about earlier on. And when that happens, when they are broken down, those nutrients are then transferred into the soil. Now, once those nutrients are transferred into the soil, and you can see that the soil here is a larger store than the litter because it's receiving a lot of nutrients very quickly due to that rapid decomposition by the detritivores. So the soil then receives those nutrients, and those nutrients will then be taken up into the biomass again to facilitate the growth of that biomass, because we know that the plants require those nutrients from the soil. So the soil is receiving nutrients from the litter, but not just the litter. The soil is also receiving nutrients from chemical weathering that is taking place. Now, chemical weathering obviously is referring to the breakdown of rocks. Now, when those rocks break down due to chemical weathering, they also will add nutrients to the soil, and those nutrients again will be taken up by the biomass to help it to grow. So let's go back here and have a look here. So the soil is quickly depleted of the nutrients or the fertility of it by the huge growth transfer as the number of trees take up the nutrients to continue to grow and propagate the large biomass. Now, some of the nutrients, however, in the soil are going to be lost through leaching. And leaching is when you have huge amounts of rainfall in the rainforest, and because of that water, that excess water that is falling onto the rainforest floor, some of the nutrients in the soil are washed away by that rainwater. That is a process of leaching, and that can lead to the soils becoming infertile. Okay, so that there is a nutrient cycle, and this is a really important one to remember, because you might be required to remember the size of the stores and the transfers, and then also be able to compare this particular nutrient cycle to the one for the taiga biome. Okay, so this is for the tropical rainforests. And there's also one for the taiga biome, which we shall look at later, which is slightly different. Okay, so moving on to the food web in the tropical rainforests. Now we know that the sun is the main source of energy. Okay, so the sun here will provide the energy for photosynthesis, and the plants, which are the primary producers, are then going to use that sun's energy to make their carbohydrates. So we have orchids, we have seeds here, we have banana trees, we have bamboo trees, we have coconut trees, and so on. So that those are the primary producers. Then they will be consumed by the animals, the primary consumers. So this is the food web, obviously, now. And you have, yes, the primary consumers consuming the plants. Okay, then those primary consumers in turn will be consumed by the secondary consumers, right? Then on above that, we have the tertiary consumers, which are sort of at the top of the food chain. So you have jaguars here, you have pythons, and so on. So they will then consume the smaller animals here. So you can see that there is a transfer of the sun's energy. That energy will be transferred into the plants. Then those plants will be eaten by the primary consumers. The energy will be transferred into the primary consumers, and then into the secondary consumers, and finally the tertiary consumers. And then when all these eventually die, so the plants and the animals, they end up being decomposed rather, by the detritivores and the decomposers, and they end up again in the soil. And then that soil again now gets more nutrients. Those nutrients are then used to support this large biomass that is in the tropical rainforest. That brings us to the end of this video on the nutrient cycle and food webs in the tropical rainforest. I hope that you have found the information insightful and useful. I have also done a video covering the whole of topic 8 on forests under threat. It will pop up as one of the suggested videos at the end of this one, and can also be found in the Forests Under Threat playlist. Videos on all the other subtopics within this particular topic are also in the playlist. There is also a playlist for the next topic, which is consuming energy resources. Thanks once again for joining in this journey towards excellent exam results. All the best, and see you again soon. Bye-bye.